You don't have to have money to start that business, but you do have to have resources. You do have to have something. And so what is that something? That something could just be your gift.
So you're saying get in there, make all the mistakes in the world at the beginning and grow into it.
People think you have to success into success. Where? Where does that ever happen? You have to fail into success.
Welcome to another episode of Building Wealth with Femi. In this podcast, we interview seasoned entrepreneurs and professionals with the aim of learning from them, how they build their businesses, the mistakes they made, how they were able to get to where they are. Today I have with me somebody that is not just a professional. She is my mentor. She taught me a lot about real estate. I was in her team before I started building my own team. And I still go back to her when I have questions about real estate. Her name is Verna Koleosho Johnson. Verna, I'm going to leave you. She's a realtor. She's a realtor, a seasoned realtor, years of experience. And she is very familiar with the Texas, Houston area. Verna, is there any other thing you want to say about yourself? I don't want to go too
I think you did it right there. No, I definitely appreciate and feel honored to be on this podcast with you to share and help other people out. I'm excited about this. So we can jump right in. Yeah.
You know, when I started, when I joined Keller Williams as a realtor, you were there and we kind of met and brainstormed together. You were on social media.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, social media was not my thing.
Mm.
I used to watch your program and I used to be like, man, she's great.
You know what, though, Femi? Social media wasn't necessarily my thing either. I literally fell into it, right? And it definitely built my business. It was about consistency and everything else. And we'll dive into that a little later. But people may sit here and say, it's not my thing, it's not this. But I remember Facebook being new and learning how to go live. And I didn't know that when you press that button, you were going live. And that's how I stumbled into using social media and started making videos before a lot of people were making videos. And the Lord blessed it.
That's interesting. I've not started going live yet.
Yeah.
But social media was a must for me. Originally, I am what you call a hands-on operator. So I wasn't really a marketer. I do most, in my business. I work hands-on in my business. But later on, I realized that marketing is the biggest thing in a business. You need to be out there. People need to see your face. People need to know you. And so I knew, you have to do it or die. So I started learning and getting. I'm still new with social media. I actually started this year.
Yeah.
This podcast started this year, just let's say about a month ago. And so this is brand new, but I love it and I'm enjoying it. And I'm so happy to have you because you have been somebody I always get back to when I have, and I don't understand something I need to get back to. So first of all, I want to tell you, most of my viewers, most of my followers are foreigners. They're foreigners to the US.
Okay.
I do sell to people in the US, but a lot of my followers are from the UK, Canada, and Nigeria, where I am from. And so sometimes a lot of my content is, tailored towards that market. And I do have a lot of clients coming from them. I've sold a lot to them in the past few years. So my questions might have to do with foreign buyers and all that. So if you don't mind.
No worries.
Good. So can you give us a little background about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm originally from Lagos, Nigeria, born there, moved here to the States around the age of 8 and have been here ever since. I started my I guess, being an adult as an educator, teaching middle and high school. And from there, got into HR, right? I helped hire principals and assistant principals. And then from there, kind of moved into sales with ADP, which is a major, one of the number one payroll service, human resource service here. I learned a lot with moving through those different paths on one, relating with people, two, managing your image, right? And then three, what businesses value and how they can kind of move forward. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm losing my voice here, but we'll make it through this interview. I started real estate early on in my 20s, actually, wanting to get into investing. Didn't even know real estate was like being a real estate agent was a thing. All I knew were salespeople at builders, right? Like at big communities, new home construction. I didn't know about this. And so when I went to, I started learning all these things about investing and how to get into it. I knew that stuff from my mom. And I went to go do it. And I was working on buying my first property and it just really, really failed. And when I came back to the people in my school who were supposed to be doing the deal with me, that's when they told me, well, what did your real estate agent say? Well, what is that? I don't even know what that is. And so I went on the internet way back then and I found Champion School of Real Estate. And I found out real estate is a real profession. And a lot of the things I didn't understand or know, the other person could have told me, right? Or someone else could have helped guide me. So I made it a point from then on. I'm a natural educator to start educating my clients and start educating stuff. I got my real estate license in less than 2 weeks. How it goes over here. I had full summer, so I could go to school all day long. And I went to school all day long and then took my test and got my license. And so that was what I was 24. I've been in this business for quite some time. Got out it a little bit when I had my child, but got back in. So, but it wasn't until I got back in and kind of connected with Keller Williams, as you're saying, that I learned other little things to help put some pieces together that I had already learned from business, but how to bring that into doing real estate. Um, and I remember they used to try to get me to do phone calls, which I'm fine with phone calls. I've done it before. I used to be a telemarketer, right? But what I found out is the biggest indicator of your success is how can you capitalize on you being you, authentically you, and then learn how to take what's coming in and then massage that relationship. So when you talked about me and social media, again, I'm not even a social media person. You can probably go to my stuff right now, and you're not going to see too much about it. I am not. I am so.
Social media.
I know, but
Ease.
I'm not a social media person, but what I am is I love talking to people. I love hearing their story and I love helping them. And so when I was finding my way, like what was going to be the thing for me that brought in the most amount of income, I was thinking to myself, well, how can I duplicate myself? Because I used to teach. So how can I, and for some reason, when I talk to people, listen, don't ask me. I feel like it's not much that I'm saying, right? But it's touching them wherever it needs to be. So I'm thinking to myself, well, how can I duplicate myself or how can I make it into another classroom? Because when I make it into a classroom, people tend to come to me, right? They're either seeing me as some form of an expert, they're seeing me as whatever it is, but they're coming to me. And then when they come to me, they're coming to me with their problem. And I love that, right? Because I'm a problem solver. I love to help people solve their problems or connect them to something that will. So when I did stumble into, I'm telling you, I really did. I was at we were watching looking at homes, and the office was doing our team meeting. And I was trying to take a picture of where we were because I was going to post that onto social media. This is when I knew that, okay, I need to be more frequent on social media. And so I was trying to figure out, well, what do I post about? Because I mean, what is there to post about? Right.
What
And
is there to talk about?
Right. What is there to talk about? Nobody's asking me a question. I can answer any questions, right? What is there? So I'm sitting there trying to, this is when it was new, trying to click on taking a picture through Facebook instead of taking a picture and then uploading it to Facebook. And I'm looking at this and I was like, oh, okay, maybe and I clicked the button and it started counting down. 3, 2, 1. I was like, oh, this is Verna. with the real life group at Keller Williams, and I'm just talking because I'm looking. You could see me if you go to. I'm trying to figure out how do I cut this thing off.
Oh,
All right, that was it. A star was born.
well,
So many people. I was on that. It took me an hour and a half to figure out how to cut this thing off. An hour and a
well,
half. And in that time frame, I figured how to switch the screen. So I turned it around. So all these other agents were being interviewed because I was like, until I figure this thing out, y'all are going to be with me on this. But people were engaged. I had over 1,000 viewers hang on with me
what,
for over
1,000
an
views?
hour, hang on with me for over an hour and a half.
But it takes a while for the viewers to come in when you log in, and that's what I had. I've not done it.
Facebook was new on their live videos.
Mm.
So all they saw was all the people I knew. I have what,
The
3,500
notification.
well, 3,000 followers at that time. They got that notification. Now, I've been a teacher. I have over 1,800 students, right? Their parents know me. So when they saw Verna's talking, they were like, well, what is she talking about? And this little crazy lady, what is she doing? And it was new. And they enjoyed and they commented. And so they wanted another one. And so I just started doing more and more. And I was doing it live. And I learned that I was limited with doing it live. Right now, I'm telling you, I'm talking just like this, like how we're talking. I have no
Mhm.
clue what I'm about to see, but I'm like, and here we have the kitchen. And so in the kitchen, right? And so learning how to do that live, but I was limited because you were limited to your Wi-Fi, so your connection. And I'm in these, we're in Fort Bend, so it's growing and growing and growing. So you're going
Yeah.
further and further out, right? So connection wasn't as stable. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can record this and then put it on. And I
Yes.
bartered with my sister-in-law who did like creating websites and she did some videos, right? So I was like, hey, I don't know how much this costs, but I know I can't afford you. Right. But here's the thing I can do. And this is one thing I encourage everybody to do. When you're building your business, you have, and I told myself, like I told my students, you have to do what you can with what you have, where you
Get
are.
what you want.
Yes. And so I didn't try to create anything. I just looked
Masterful
around and said, what do I already have? And how can I
that you
make it
can
happen?
use.
That I can use. So she already has this thing that she's doing stuff. I can't pay her because I don't even know what I need to pay you. But this is what I can do. And so I bartered with her, right? And I said, hey, can you record a video per week? So 4 weeks in a month. Help me edit it and put it on. What I'll start off with is I'll pay you. I think I paid her $125 or $250 in a month's time frame, right? And I said, as the business comes, I will help buy you equipment, right? Because when a business comes in real estate and much of any other business, it's not like it's consistent, right? So you can't say, I know I'm going to have $5,000 at such and such time. You don't know that. So as it came, I started buying her equipment. And then I said, I'll also spread the word that people can use you. So I'll help build your business. So we started that. And she was cool and it was working. Matter of fact, just like you said, my program, people used to say, hey, what happened to your show? Show? What
I,
show?
I don't know. You didn't know you had a show. But
No.
but that will take me to, I have a lot of questions, but let me
Yeah,
just
please.
gradually graduate in the question.
Hmm.
What you just said, right? One of the things about this podcast for me personally is to educate people on how to
Hmm.
grow their
Hmm.
business and how
Hmm.
other people like you grew their business.
Hmm.
And this is not about money for me. It's just about giving back to the society and
Hmm.
educating people. And you just mentioned something, and I feel people should know. You said when you started the social media thing, you didn't have the money to fund it, you didn't have the resources, but you had your sister-in-law, and you just called her and said, you know what, you can do the editing and all that. I will give you 25, and as you go by, I'll buy you equipment. So you
Hmm.
started with nothing. And this
Hmm.
is what I always tell people. You don't have to have a lot of money to start a business. People call you and say, well, I want to start a business. I need this amount of money. I have a proposal. If you think very well, you would find a way to start that business without having to invest a lot. I just wanted to bring
Absolutely.
that out. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. You don't have to have money to start that business, but you do have to have resources. You do have to have something. And so, what is that something? That something could just be your gift. So you know how to do this. Let's say what my thing is. Maybe my sister-in-law didn't know how to do whatever, but I do know how to connect people. So when I moved up to the next person, because my sister-in-law, she was getting pregnant, and so we couldn't do it as consistency. So I went to the next person, and I said the same thing. Now this person had absolutely nothing to do with me. He was referred to me. I saw someone from my church. She had a really good video. And I said, "Ooh, I like her video." And I asked her for his number. And I said, "Hey, I got your number from such and such person. Now here's what I have. What I don't have is how much to pay you."
I have
Total,
money.
total stranger. I don't have what you're probably worth, right? But what I do have is I have an office full of 400, at that time, 400 agents that I can spread the word to and market you, and could probably get you at least one person, right, per month who will do a video.
Hmm. So
And
you
I
struck
said,
a
now
deal.
I'm always striking deals because here's what I know. I know I can connect people. That's my gift, right? And so I told him, I said, now to reduce your burden, how about, because I used to shoot every week, right? I said, how about we shoot all 4 videos in one day, and it's a Sunday. So that reduces your driving. It reduces your time to just a condensed time once a month. And then you just edit the videos and release it out to me. Now, that first time, it took forever to do those videos because he's not used to me. He wanted me to be perfect. I'm like, here's what I'm not. I'm not perfect.
So
I
you
don't
got
have any of these things
apart from
rehearsed.
apart from not having the resources to start a
Yeah.
business, you don't really have to be perfect like me. You just have to get in there.
No, just
You
get
just
in
have
it.
to get in there and grow it and get
That's it.
perfect while you're on the job.
That's it.
Because there are
That's
people
what,
that think that they have to do all the research, they have to make
no,
sure everything is taught before
no,
they start their business. So you're
no.
saying get in there, make all the mistakes in the world
That's it.
at the beginning and grow into it, which is what I'm
You're
doing.
learning. You have to fail into success. People think you have to success into success. Where does that ever happen? You have to fail into success. Now, what we've done is we painted this picture that failure is bad. Well, let's not call it failure then. You have to try into success. And trial requires failure,
It is.
right? Otherwise, it's not a trial. You knew. It's just like scripture says, what's the purpose of hope if you already
So
have
are
it?
you saying I don't have to make sure everything is okay and fine,
No.
do all the courses, make sure I know how to talk online, make sure I know before I get in there?
Life shows us that that's not how we work as humans. Because if that was the case, everybody would come out as a baby and walking already with full teeth. We have trial teeth, right?
You have tried
So
to.
that's not how we are created. We're not created to just wake up and now it's just perfect. We're created to just put in the effort. God supplies the rest. And then from there, you graduate to the next and you put in the effort and God supplies the rest. We are partnering with Him to create something that one day He'll say, it's beautiful,
That's
right?
that. I hope a lot of people are hearing that you don't have to have everything you need to go into a business. You just have to get in there and find the solution while you are in there. While
Absolutely.
we're talking about that, I heard you say something. You said your first deal,
Hmm.
your first deal didn't go well. What was that? Can you tell us about that deal? That was before you became a realtor, I believe.
Oh, yes, yes. So no, yeah. So like I said, I wanted to get into this.
You spoke about investment. You said
Right.
you
I
were
was
trying
trying
to
to get into
invest. You
investing.
weren't trying
Yeah.
to be a realtor. You were trying to
No,
invest, but you did
I
a
was trying
first
to
deal.
invest.
Can you tell us
I
about the
was,
first deal?
yep, I was going on 24 and I was trying to invest into a deal. I knew about tax liens and I knew this. So I started paying for my education, right? So I would go to conferences. I would learn from Zig Ziglar. I would learn from so many people who had done some form of business, right? And I brought these teachers with me. I was the youngest teacher in my school. And these teachers had said they wanted to invest as well. So I was like, okay, we'll create an investment group and we'll go learn a little bit. So they went with me to the seminars and all these little workshops.
You created an investment group and
I
you were
did
24.
almost 24. I was 23.
You were 23
We
plus.
started,
And you were able
yeah,
to gather people.
yes. Now
Okay.
here's where I failed.
That's I think is unusual because at my age, I think, I mean, it's not easy to get people to follow you, but continue what you're saying.
Well, that's where I failed, right? Because though they
Oh, that's
said
where
they
you
were going
failed.
to, right. So I learned that people will say something and their actions can be different, right? So what they have been afraid of is actually taking the first step. I'm the type of person that if we talk about something, well, then let's go. What's the purpose of keep talking about things, right? And I was so much more forward when I was younger, right? I've learned now that everybody doesn't move at the same pace. So you got to slow down, right? And so here I was structuring a deal. And I went to go look at a particular property that wasn't far from my school. So I can easily just go there. And here is my follow-up. I said, at the very least, if I'm not able to flip this property, I'll just live there because I didn't have a house. So I came to them and said, hey, let's go do this deal. I found this property. Here's what we could potentially get from rental if we keep it for a rental, or we could flip it and we can do this, X, Y, and Z. They were like, oh, okay. But then nobody went to do the deal with me. Nobody brought any money.
Because you don't have
Nobody did
experience.
any,
You're
right?
24 and you don't have experience.
Yeah. And neither did they. They didn't have any experience. They just didn't, they were afraid of the risk, right? And I wasn't afraid of the risk. I was 23. So I went to go and I signed all the paperwork, negotiated the deal, got the price. It was $75,000 property. It's not like, and I mean, back then that was a lot, right? Because my salary was $33,000. So it wasn't much. Um, and, but still,
I want to break in for a
go
minute.
for it. Yeah.
And I hope my followers, but I just wanted to educate them.
No, no,
$75,000 when you were talking about will be a lot because when I came
it
into
was.
US in 2020, 2013, I used to buy lots to build properties at $35,000. Now I buy them at least 120,000.
Mhm.
But continue. So that's
No, you're right. It was because, like I said, my salary was $33,000, right? So it was still a lot of money, but to me, it wasn't too risky. Like I had studied the numbers, and so I went to go do it. I wasn't married. I didn't really have much debt, but then they told me I wasn't qualified. And that at that time, the lady who was working the deal on the other side, took me through Bank of America. What I learned later on is Bank of America is the hardest bank to get qualified for. And all she needed to do was just resubmit my stuff to somebody else. And that's it. I lost an opportunity because of her failure to educate me on something. Because if she really wanted the job done, submit my thing to someone else, right? So I immediately went and got my real estate license. My birthday's in May, so school was over, and I turned 24, and I went through that summer in June, and then went and got my license. And from that point on, I started helping people who had worse situations than mine get their properties.
so because you didn't get a loan is why you said you failed.
That's it.
But
No, because that part I didn't say I failed. I learned from that, right?
you learn
The
from
failure
there's
portion
no
was
failure. Let me say this
right.
from my experience. There is no failure because when you do something and there was an error or a
Hmm.
mistake,
Hmm.
you learn from it, you improve on it, and that's the story of life.
But
That's
see,
not a
that's
failure.
why I say I failed. The failure was not on the property. The failure was in not going back to get those people to come back as a group.
Oh,
I left that alone instead of learning from that. I was like, well, I ain't fooling with them people. I'll go do it by myself. But I could have had a very strong group. And if not them, someone else. Because I didn't go back into investing. I got into doing real estate and selling real estate. And
oh.
I didn't get back into investing until now.
And
I'm
you could
married.
have
I have two
continued with
children.
investing. Oh,
Exactly.
that's it. I can
Exactly.
understand.
So I failed because I quit.
But so a lot of people don't understand that failing is not a problem. You need to fail and learn from your failure, then go back and improve on it. Instead, they quit.
When you quit is when you fail.
You were not failure, but
That's
you
it.
went into real estate. You
Yeah.
you deviated.
So I yeah, and I'm learning from all of those experiences. And now it is even harder to find people, one, that you trust, but then yes, who will give money. But I have done deals and I just use other people's money, right? To do those deals. And then I keep my ear open for certain things. And so I'm eager to get back into it at a higher level and then create more partners. And it's interesting that you say you do a lot of your consumers are from Nigeria or abroad, and that's more of the connections I'm trying to get. Not necessarily just Nigeria, but other places,
Countries,
and
yes.
here that they invest and put their money in other countries, right? Because don't put all your eggs in one basket.
And let me take that to opportunity to go into another question, even though I have a lot of questions. Houston, Texas. A lot of foreigners. Houston is so diverse. I stay in Houston. I barely meet a local person, like a white person, or everybody I meet is outside. It's from
Yeah,
they are foreigners.
yeah,
In my neighborhood, 90%.
yeah.
And I stay in a, let me say, to be conservative, medium income, you know,
Yes,
this is a very beautiful neighborhood. Everybody is a foreigner.
yes.
Tell me about Houston. I love Houston. I don't want to go into my story, but let's just talk about.
Uh,
Tell me about the opportunities for foreigners in Houston, Texas.
Absolutely. I mean, we are the most diverse city. And then I'm in Fort Bend. And so we're the most diverse county, even more so than in New York. So it is a very diverse place. And you are hard pressed to find somebody who is originally from here. Most people you'll see, especially around this age group, they came here in 86 and beyond, right? But, I'm starting to run into more and more people who are actually native Houstonians. It is definitely an opportunity for foreigners to invest or to even move and settle down in an area. We have a lot of consulates, we have a lot of agencies, we have a lot of food from various
From various countries.
countries. Oh
Nigerian, I'm not
yeah.
short of Nigerian food. I
This
eat
is
everything Nigerian
yes.
every day. I don't,
They call
I
this
just,
little Nigeria. They call you
there's a lot of
little
Nigerian food.
Nigeria because of this.
I eat more
Yes, it's
Nigerian food
everywhere.
in Houston than in Nigeria. I'm telling you. I know you've not been, I believe you've not been in Nigeria in a long time. I
I
tell you,
haven't.
the
Yeah.
quality of Nigerian food I eat here in Houston, I don't get it when I go to Nigeria. I go to Nigeria
Yeah.
a lot.
It's true. It's true though. They have a lot and they're building even more. Like Richmond, Rosenberg area is starting to be full of Nigerian restaurants and different things like that. But it's not Nigerian, it's Egyptian, it's Ethiopian. So several places in Africa. Ghanaian they're starting to bring, yeah. And then now let's go into another continent. You have Vietnamese, you have Hong Kong, you have Chinese food. Let's go to South America. You'll have Brazilian. You'll have so it's just so many different eateries that you're not suffering from food. Matter of fact, we gain a lot of weight
Yeah,
from this
yeah,
food. We
yeah.
have to. But the climate is good. A lot of great schools, right? A huge one that's being built right now. Well, it's been built, but they're expanding is the international baccalaureate program right here. And so they're building that more and more. I'm seeing them pop up and a lot of immersion schools. So they're starting to have immersive Spanish, immersive Arabic, immersive French
And
schools. Yeah, so they're really really building that. They have a full English program at one of these schools. It's a
wow.
British international school
In Houston, Texas.
in Houston, Texas. Yes. Oh, well, the greater Houston area. Absolutely. So there's just a lot of opportunity
For
for growth.
foreigners.
hmm
For
We're
foreigners.
huge so a lot of the foreigners I see are here either because of technology, they're here because of oil and gas, they're here because of the medical, and these are all our top economic drivers, right? And then they're here for their education.
So you're
So,
saying that what drives the economy in Houston are, what did you say?
so the top driver is oil and gas, then the medical,
Oil and
right?
gas.
Yep, oil and gas, medical,
And
our education. So we have a huge education as a driver, right? But this comes because of these two things. The more you have these two things, the more you need schools for those for the kids that these two things bring. And then finally technology. Technology used to be higher and it was aeronautical technology because we had NASA. But we still have NASA, but
We
it's
have
a
what?
private
NASA?
NASA.
NASA?
NASA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The National Aeronautics Space
Yeah.
Academy or whatever. But that's private now, right? It's not government ran or anything of that sort. So we still have big technology here. Um, and then Dallas, right? So Dallas has the other set of technology, huge on computers, Dell and all that stuff. So those are our four biggest economic drivers. And so with that being our drivers, a lot of foreigners exist within all of that, right? And so having employment for that is huge. I have a cousin who lives in Canada.
Unemployment. Okay.
Because that's one of the things when you come here. When we first came here, my dad did not have a secure employment. My mom had something because she stayed here while we went back to Nigeria and then came back. And so she was in the medical field. And so she kind of held it down for us for a while because my dad, with all his degrees, couldn't get a job. Right. And eventually he went into medical in a sense, but it was technology. So he worked for UTMB in Galveston. That's a huge thing. When my cousins were trying to leave Nigeria for some things that were going on there, it was hard for them. They were looking for something here and they had technology background themselves. And they looked for stuff and the closest they got was Canada. But she lives in Canada, but her headquarters of whatever company she's in is here in Houston,
In Houston.
right?
So Houston is the base.
Houston is the base for a lot of different companies. And we went around, by we, I mean the governor went around trying to bring even more headquarters to be here. And so that helped, right? Whenever we've had huge swings in our market, and I don't mean real estate market, I mean our economy, period, right? Because of Enron, so oil and gas little things, or natural disasters or whatever, we tend to bounce back pretty quickly, right? Relatively
Yeah.
speaking, towards
Because we are
other people.
diverse.
Correct, correct. Enron was one of the biggest hit when it came to our economy in that time, because that was also the time where there was a lot of crazy things happening and it hit the market. So that was 2008, 2009, 2010. Most people in real estate who were in real estate in that time, they understand how bad that hit our market. And that was the last between, because that there was that. And then there was, I think, Hurricane Harvey. So yeah, these two major things give us a huge blow. And so the way Houston responded to that, because that kept us down for a
I
while,
was here. I
the way
was here.
Houston
Hurricane Harvey.
you were there, right? So the way Houston responded to that is they used to only have our center medical center, right? And maybe one other. So they created mini medical centers on all four
All over
corners
the
of
place.
Houston. Yep. And then oil and gas, instead of them staying in just the energy corridor, they expanded the energy corridor to Cinco Ranch area, so Katy and all that other good stuff. And they created more businesses there. So now when a natural disaster hits or when the economy goes, we stay like this.
Because we're kind of all over the place and stable.
We buffered it.
Yeah.
We've buffered it, right? Doesn't mean we're foolproof, but we've
Yeah.
buffered it.
Yeah. Nothing is guaranteed in
No,
business. But so
no.
let me kind of I'm gonna kind of talk on what you said.
Mhm,
Because I'm originally from Nigeria and I came into Houston because I realized Houston was so diverse. Like, I get into Houston and I see everybody in
mhm,
equal quantity, like Asians, Nigerians, Africans, white people, everybody. Houston
mhm,
is so diverse, and the food, you get all the food, you get all the places to go, everything is just here. And
mhm,
when you talk about business, like you said, we have medical, it's
mhm,
big. Medical is,
mhm.
I understand medical is one of the biggest, we have one of the biggest medical industry in the
I
US
think we
or the
were,
world.
and I have not checked recent things, but we were number one, our
Yeah,
medical. Yeah, our
medical
medical.
in the world. And then we have oil and gas every
Hmm.
year. In 2 weeks' time, we're gonna have the
Hmm.
OTC.
Hmm.
Everybody in the world is coming to
Yes, comes here.
Houston. They're
Yep.
going to come to events on OTC. The place is going to be filled up. You know, so
Mhm,
we have oil and gas, we have medical, and technology is becoming to be a big thing. You have,
mhm,
you know, Elon Musk coming in here, I think
mhm,
to Texas. He's going into
mhm,
Austin, I believe.
mhm,
You have,
mhm.
everybody's coming into Texas.
Yeah.
Texas in technology and everything.
Mhm.
What would you think? What would you say is the opportunity for foreigners? I'm not even talking about the US citizens. I'm talking about your US people staying in the US. Other people that wants to buy property here in the US. What are the
Mhm.
opportunities for them
Well, so
in
they
terms of
do.
jobs?
Mhm.
We'll first go in terms of jobs, then we go into in terms of how they can buy this property, which is what we do. But let's talk about the jobs. No, not jobs. Opportunities in terms of economic opportunities and all that.
Okay. And are these people are in this scenario, are these people living here or they're staying abroad and they're
Saying
investing?
abroad that they are looking into moving into Texas. And
Okay.
a lot of people move into Texas on a daily basis from because
Hmm.
I've looked at the data. A lot of people, foreigners, move to Houston, to Texas, particularly from outside the country. What are their opportunities?
Absolutely. I almost want to say that. Now, I don't know the breakdown in terms of ethnicity, but we are at a net 333,000 growth, right? Each year. It's probably even more than that. But
Bro,
mhm,
333,000 people influx into
mhm,
Texas.
mhm.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so in terms of foreigners, and their opportunities here, there's still land, right? We have an entire community being built by, a specific, culture, and it's for their culture. And the way that they're kind of getting away with that are they're not excluding people from being inside of that community. They're just encouraging people
People to
of their
come
same
in.
culture, yeah,
I
to be in that
love, I
community.
love Texas. I don't want to go into that, but man, I
Yeah,
love. I
yeah.
don't feel like I came in from Nigeria. I feel like this is home. But continue
Hmm.
what you're saying.
Yep. So purchasing property for a couple of different things. Either purchasing property and building small communities. That's one thing, because we're at a deficit on how many homes we're building for the demand, right? So that's one. That's an opportunity. Or purchasing property and then doing agriculture on there, right? So the government is starting to incentivize even heavier on agriculture and especially organic type of agriculture, right? Because again, we're becoming on a deficit on our demand, and more people are trying to ditch GMOs and get into organic. So that's another thing because we still have space, right? Texas is so super, super huge. And almost like, I think it was 10, 12 years ago, we were only one third occupied of Texas. And now
For the
we're
land.
closer to 50. We're closer to 50%. So getting more developers to come in. I ran into a guy. I don't remember exactly how I knew him, but he was of Asian descent, and what he worked for a bank, and or he works for a bank because I still know him. He works for a bank, and he's also in real estate. And he got into real estate because he kept having people from his country and the surrounds sending money to the states, to Texas, to Houston specifically, in his bank so that they can buy property. So you have people back home who don't have as much coming together, creating their own syndication, right?
Wow.
And now the guy had to go find properties so that that money goes there. They rent it and then they take the money and they split it, right? And so there was one that had a piece of land and they bought the land a long time ago. But after COVID, they sold that land and they got so much from it. So what they have realized and what I learned from them is all they look for is the opportunity.
Yes.
Once you get the opportunity, the rest will come. Things should always rise. So they didn't care that they bought something and it didn't have much into it. They knew, they could see that in the future it will come where
Mm,
you will want this property. And if I haven't built anything on it, I still will make a killing on the return. And that's what
mm.
they did. So that's what they look for. They go, the man, he goes and he purchases off of auction. So people not paying
Auction.
on their tax and different things of that sort. And it's not his property. Now he puts his money into it now because he joined that group, right?
Yes.
But it's a group of people who are foreigners. They never live here and they're buying property. Now, slowly but surely, I know another group who did something very similar, but they started bringing people. So slowly but surely, they would get somebody who would either get a lottery and they can move over here, and they would put them up in the house, and then they will only be in that house for for a while. They bring all their family, they put them to school, like a school over here is called Clements, very high school, and so they would put them in that school, and then as their kids graduate, then they move on, and then they put another person in that house. So it helps everybody get on their feet, start businesses, do
Foreigners.
different stuff.
Yes.
Yes. So that's
Uh,
one thing we can learn from
and
other cultures.
and let me tell you this. I'm a foreigner in the US.
Hmm.
Well, not now. I've been here for like 12 years. Everything has been, I thank God, everything worked out like I planned.
Hmm.
I just wanted to go into what you said. One of the things I'm trying to do, and we're talking about culture and
Hmm.
some of the other things, is educate people on how to invest in the US and in Texas.
Hmm.
And I mean, you just went into that, there's so much opportunities. The way what you're talking about, putting together people, we invest in properties and that are discounted, and then we invest in it, and then we buy it and we lease it and we make money out of it in different ways. And I've had a very good time in the past 12 years that I've been in the US,
Hmm.
doing this. But one of the things I've learned is that time changes
Hmm.
and the economy changes.
Hmm.
For instance, let me talk about the time of the pandemic.
Hmm.
I made a lot of money.
Hmm.
When I made it was incredible.
Hmm.
When the pandemic came, everybody was panicking.
Hmm.
I didn't go out for like 3 weeks. Then I went out one day. I had construction going on, and I
Hmm.
stopped the guys working for me. I think it was at 215 or 217. I can't remember what time pandemic was. Then I called my builders and said, my workers. I said, "Hey guys, let's stop pandemic. Nobody goes out." Then I decided to take a drive out, and I found out there was so much going on.
Yeah,
And I
Houston
called
didn't
them back.
shut
I
down.
said, "Guys, get back to the slide.
We were very defiant here in Houston, Texas.
We
Very
sold.
defiant.
We didn't have enough. We
Hmm.
sold and sold and
Hmm.
sold."
Hmm.
So what I'm talking about is the opportunities and the risk and the what is going on right now. At this particular moment, people are looking at what is going on in the US.
Hmm.
You have a lot of tariff being put on importation and all that. And I have a lot of people call me, tariff, what is going to happen? Your government is doing this and doing that and doing that. Do you have an idea of what's your perception of this? And and every time people call me, what I think about is the pandemic. There was never a time I was much more scared
Hmm.
than the pandemic. We weren't going out. We were in the house. Everybody was scared. You get sick, you get everything, stay in the house. There is nothing going on. I stopped all my workers. But you know what, Verna, I it was the greatest time of my life.
Yes. So
What
I
do you
actually
think?
like this
What do you
question.
think about what is going to go on now with all these people talking about government policies in the US?
So I don't know that my insight is coming straight from that. My insight is more so coming from my understanding, my beliefs, and where the Lord is doing and what the Lord is doing to us as Americans and then to the world, right? So that's where I'm going to speak from. And it does carry the weight of what's happening, the tariffs and all this, but these things are prophesied, right? These things were prophesied. And so that's where I'm going to come from. And one thing I had to learn in my journey of knowing this stuff and then going as I'm talking to the Lord is you have to, you have to live, you have to live in this, but not of this, right? Just like you said, be in this world, but not of it. So that means that you are preparing and you're taking advantage of things right now, but you're also preparing for the things in the future,
That's going to come. Okay.
right? Otherwise, I was going to sit in this paralysis because I do not know the time, right? And it's like, okay, but how are you redeeming your time wisely? I learned that. So if I was to give any advice to anybody now, please don't listen
You're
to
not a financial or economic. We're just talking about,
I'm
um,
just telling you what I would do if I was in
yeah,
your situation, right?
I know.
So if I was in their situation, one of the things I would be doing in Africa, right, is I would be looking at, okay, here in the in Houston, I can't speak about anywhere else. They have an initiative to help build business, and it's U.S. Africa. Look at it to give you some specifics of what's going on, and it's to encourage this money exchange happening from here in Houston and Africa, right? Specifically Nigeria and Ghana. So the mayor, before he died, he
Mhm.
went home and he went with a friend of mine, Victor. I think you know
Oh,
him.
where is it from? The mail.
The mayor was here. I'm talking about Sylvester Turner before he
Oh,
died
okay.
a couple of years back. Him, Victor, a couple of other people. They went back home to. Well, they went to Nigeria. No, I'm sorry. They went to Ghana. They did go to Nigeria. But they were only there for a second, and then they went to Ghana. And they were looking at ways that we can work together. So that would be the now. Look at what's already happening on ways that we can work together because the government is supporting that transaction, right? Or um, that thing. So that's the now. Find different places within this country and other countries to put your money. Okay. For the future, there's going to be a mass exodus, a
There's
mass
going to be what?
exodus, a mass exodus, people
Exodus.
leaving from the United States and going to other
Ah,
countries.
yes.
They're going to emigrate
Okay.
instead of immigrate.
Okay.
And so, how are you preparing where you are to receive those people so they stay and generate money into this economy instead of saying, oh, we just got here because we were running, but we can't stay here, and they go somewhere else. So what are you creating back home, right?
It
That
will
will give
stay.
people a place to stay. And we
Opportunities.
already know, yes, and we already know if you have a place to stay, you got to make money. So that will also give them jobs to do because they're coming. Ghana has already kind of created an entryway now. They're starting to change things.
Yes.
They created an entryway in anticipation for the
Yes.
return.
Yes. So a lot of people, so Ghana has already created that atmosphere to receive a
Hmm.
lot of Africans in diaspora to come back into
Hmm.
Ghana.
Hmm.
And that's a very big insight for me.
Yeah.
And you see, I've survived with looking into the future. That's how you
Hmm.
survive. You see what's going to happen.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
a lot of people,
That's what provision is.
that's vision. That's vision. And people ask me
Provision. Provision is creating what you need for
for the
what's coming.
future.
Yes.
So a lot of people ask me, you've been in business for, I have never been really employed. Verna, I started
Mm-hmm.
business from university and people ask me, how did you survive? And that's like peering into what is going to happen. And one of the things I've noticed is people go helter skelter. They want to get out of Nigeria, get
Yes.
back out of the
Yes.
US. Everybody's,
Yes.
but the world has become so global
Mm-hmm.
that this is a new whole era.
Mm-hmm.
You can take advantage of doing business anywhere. There is information. You know what is going on. What we are talking about right now is going everywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
information. So it's not just for people staying in Houston.
No,
They can take
at
advantage
all.
of it. Yes.
Yes.
So the world is so global, barriers are down. When I was growing up, even music, when music are released in the US, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
get to Nigeria until like 3 or 4 months later. Now
Yeah.
music are released real time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you have a lot of music all over the world coming into the US and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the world, the barriers are down. You can do business. I see myself as a global businessman. I don't look at myself
Amen.
as an American or a Nigerian.
Yeah, I
Man.
want to be like you.
No,
Global.
I've not quite gotten there. That's the way I think.
That's the way you think. Okay. I'm
And
thinking the same
when you
way
start
then.
thinking like that, that's
Mm-hmm.
what you're gonna be like. And that's
There you
my
go.
belief. And like I always say, this program is about giving back to people that wants to
Mm-hmm.
be entrepreneurs. And that's where I think the barriers are down. You can do anything. You want to go back,
Mm-hmm.
come here, you want to go there. All you have to do is walk in. The barriers are down. Information is all you need. Information is everything.
Yeah.
So talking based on information, and so you can move around, you can decide to see into the future and say, look, you know what, let me prepare for the people coming here, let me prepare for the opportunity, and people are coming from there to here also.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the people coming from outside to the US, what would you say the future is for them? Would you say that, and that's why I went into the story of the pandemic season when everybody was like, oh, there's pandemic, what is going on? Would you say that we still have a lot of investment going on in Houston, Texas? Would you say encourage people to come here and invest in Texas?
Um, I would still invest in Texas, so yeah, I would encourage it. But I more so am not looking for permanency, right? So I would encourage the investment because why not? If you can still,
Diversity.
this is not a gamble, right? You know that you can put some money into the ground and some fruit will come out. Now, is the fruit the same way it was during the pandemic? Absolutely not, right? But anybody who does stocks, which is this fictitious
Stocks,
thing,
yes. Stocks.
right?
I don't like stocks, but
Yeah,
a
it's this
lot of people do
fictitious thing.
stocks.
Hey, you know what? If you can go in there and learn how to do day trading and get your money in, get your money out, why not? Right? So there's always a season for things. And and then with the season comes a time for that thing. So jump into it. Um, in stocks, you put your money in one place, you put your money in another place, and you put your money in another place, and you watch what's happening in that place. When you see some other stock is going down, you're going to
You
look what's
move
the
it
trend
out.
of those things. You move it to a certain thing. Here it is, right?
That's why I
Because
call
God
myself
has,
that's why I call
yeah,
myself a global citizen.
yeah, God has called us all to multiply what He's given us. That is one of our jobs. And so, in whatever the situation, sometimes it may bring back threefold, sometimes it may bring back 500-fold, sometimes it may be 60-fold, sometimes it just doubled, right? We don't know fully what that's going to do. That's not our job. Our is to watch what's happening, plant that seed into that ground because it seems like it's good enough soil, and then harvest it, and then rinse and repeat. So, should they come, as long as Houston is continuing to show you that it has a return on your investment, why not?
Yeah.
Now, how much should you put in it? I don't know. That depends on you and what your other options are,
Yes.
right? So, I always encourage that. As a people, we need to become stronger. And then, but the way to get stronger is not just by, oh, let me put money in here and thinking about yourself. It's about doing what you're doing, Femi. It is helping each other. When we
Yes.
are working as one, doesn't mean we have to think the same way, right? Or have the same gifts. That's not how you work in life. We complement each other with our gifts, right? And we have the same goal. Now, we may get there all different ways because we're all coming from a different spot, but we have this goal of how do we help ourselves,
Grow.
right? So that all of us are doing well, not one of us is doing well. So you do and you teach and you bring. I was watching a documentary on the Igbo people and
I love
Igbo
them.
businessmen. Yes. right? And how, as a culture, they go and school, okay, there's school, but come learn this school of life and understand about
Business.
merchandising and being a merchant and how to get more and how. Now, some things are a bit extra, but the concept of understanding how to take something and make it into take nothing and make it into something else, right? And then they don't stop there. How to help your fellow brother do the same thing.
Yes. Yes. And
So from
that's
that standpoint, that's awesome,
yes.
right?
Yes. It is. It is. It is. We
So
can all work together.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's enough for everybody.
Yes.
To have an abundance, not just
Yes.
barely. God created this world and he first created all the green plants, right? And then he created the animals and then he created us. Why? And notice there are more animals than there are humans and there's more grass than there are animals. And why? Because he created us to have an abundance of resources. Why didn't God create all man? He knows exactly who was going to be alive. Why didn't he create them all at one time? Why was it just one man and then eventually a woman? But the same water has been here since the beginning of time. These mountains, they've been here.
Yes. Yeah.
The same dirt
This,
has been here
yes. Yes.
since
It
the
never
beginning of the
changed.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It never changed. And
Yeah.
yet
We
humans,
changed. The people changed.
right.
Yes.
And then we came and messed up the good thing.
Yeah. And one of the theme of my podcast, and I think it might be different from other people, is really talking honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like to bring people here and say, look, tell me about your mistakes, how vulnerable you are. I don't want to hear
Mm-hmm.
about you. I have this, I have that, I made this, I'm so special. And I love what you're saying because that's what we're talking about. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear
Mm-hmm.
about honestly telling people, and that's because I want other people to hear that we are all human. We can, the people that are successful, they made mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
so they're like us. So it's nothing big to do all
No.
that. And yes, that's what the people always think, oh, well, he's special, he's intelligent, he has opportunities. No, they all make mistakes. And I want to discuss. When I started this, my purpose was to discuss with people honestly what the problems they went through. But
Mm.
that is
I
not the
have
way.
many.
We have
I
yeah. I mean, we
have
have so
many.
much to talk about. We are human. We're the same
Mm-hmm.
thing with everybody. We make so much
Mm-hmm.
mistakes on a daily basis. But
Mm-hmm.
there's so much. I don't want to go into that now. Let me go into educating people about how they can buy properties in the US. What is the
Mm-hmm.
Before I go into that, what's the difference between a realtor and a
Real estate
real estate
agent.
agent?
Yeah, good question. So both of them foundationally have a license, right? So they have a license to do business here and conduct real estate transactions. However, a realtor, one, that's a trademark name. So you cannot put realtor next to your name unless you are actually part of that association of real estate agents or realtors. And so they're held at a higher standard and they have more access to properties and information than just the real estate agent. So their code of ethics mandates how they move around. And then, so like here, we have HAR, which stands for Houston Association of Realtors. Now,
At all.
the majority of real estate agents have a realtor designation because it's Houston Association of Realtors who holds the multiple listings, right?
They make us comply with the
Yes.
rules and regulations.
Yes. And they hold those listings. And so, yes, you can go on Zillow or you can go on Redfin, but you're limited on the information that you get from Zillow and Redfin because they're not allowed to have as many things as the Houston Association of Realtors have in their MLS. And yes, and so they hold you to a higher standard in regards. So you are policed a lot more. And that's based on the code of ethics. So yeah,
Okay.
that's the thing. If you
Oh,
have an
that's it.
opportunity to get somebody, get a realtor.
One of
instead of just
ethics,
a real estate agent.
one of
Yes,
the
code of
ethics
ethics.
we have as realtors is we
Hmm.
have a fiduciary to our clients, the people that come
Hmm.
up to us and say, you know what, Femi, Verna, get a property for me, buy this property for me. We have a fiduciary duty to
Hmm.
them. What is a fiduciary duty? And that's
So,
one of the things they require us in our association that you
mhm.
must have for people that comes to meet you.
Absolutely. So fiduciary responsibility, and it's a requirement for real estate agents, realtors, but fiduciary responsibility is basically saying that you're putting your client's financial welfare above your own, right? And so you're making sure that you're not doing deals based on how they benefit you, but you're doing deals based on how it
How they
benefits,
benefit them.
yes,
So
your client.
you're not thinking about how to make money for yourself.
Right,
And this is
right.
required by our association.
Yes,
They are more
definitely.
important than us.
Yes, yes. And it's regulated, right? And so any type of complaints that can be placed on there or whatever, you stand the risk of not only being fined, but getting your real estate license revoked and taken from you. So we hold that at a high regard on how you take care of that business. Now, does it mean that some people go against it sometimes, but they're not going to last very long, right?
They're not gonna
People are
last.
always looking, yeah, they're not going to last very long. People are always looking for loopholes. Right. So yeah,
Can
good question.
foreigners buy properties in the US? People that are
They
not
can.
citizens.
Yes, they can.
They
But
can just
they
come in.
will.
They can just come in without having a citizenship in the US and just buy properties. A foreigner, a full foreigner.
So yes, they're going to be taxed. Now, I don't know, and I need to go back and look at it when it comes to open land, like agricultural land, if they can actually purchase that when you're not a citizen. But if you're purchasing it, and it's just like it's a house or like an apartment or anything, so real property, not just the land, then yeah, they can.
You're
Now they'll
free.
be
You can
taxed
just
on
walk
it.
in and buy. You don't have to be a citizen.
No.
Can they get a loan?
There are some banks that will do that loan, but they're going to have very strict guidelines for those things as a foreigner.
It's kind of
Hmm.
different from the people that are citizens, but you can actually get a
Absolutely.
loan to buy a house
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah. And sometimes you go through more of a private lender or a specific
Yes.
banking institution, but yeah, they can still
And
do it.
I
I
have
work
done
with
it.
some investors who are in Mexico and they buy
Yeah.
properties here, right?
Yes, yes. So you can, as a foreigner, you can come in here and
Mm-hmm.
buy a land, and wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you have an idea of what the process to purchasing a property is? Like, how do we go through? Do we just drive around and look for the property and then, call the seller? Or what do we do to get a property? If I want to buy a house and I'm
Mm-hmm.
coming from outside the country, I
Mm-hmm.
stay in the UK, I don't know anything about the US, but I drive in, I want to stay in the US. How do I get a property? What do I do? What
So
do you
I would highly suggest you contact a real estate agent or realtor, right? Because you don't know the law of the land, the lay of the land, and what makes more sense. And so that real estate agent or your realtor can start with an honest conversation of what are you trying to accomplish? When are you trying to accomplish this? And then they can give you, as long, you know, all realtors are not created equally. So if they are about their business and they've done their research, like yourself, Femi, they can ask you questions and you can tell them, well, here are the potential outcomes that you can see. And here's the advantage of that outcome. And here is the disadvantage of that outcome so that you can be an educated buyer. I would strongly discourage purchasing properties blindly. You have no
without somebody that knows
right.
what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't necessarily mean your friend because your friend doesn't have access to what's happening in the market. Your friend will sit here and say stuff like, yeah, and the house just down my street, it went for $500,000. No, that's what it was listed for. But this realtor can go in there and look and say, yeah, but it sold for 350. So that's not where we need to be, right? They can also educate you on the opportunities that are there. What does the market look like? Are people struggling to get jobs right now? Are you coming here to live or you just want this as an investment? Okay, here's a school that's a really good school. You would make more money if you put it next to this school. So they have insider trade information, right? To help guide you instead of just sitting here blindly. Now, that friend who knows a lot can connect you to a real estate agent who is educated and can give you that information. If that real estate agent is not
And of
starting
course,
their conversation,
a real estate agent has a fiduciary duty.
yes,
It's not about him making money. It's about you first
yes.
before him.
So that realtor that I'm using this interchangeably right now, if they're not starting that conversation by having a discovery call, like asking you, what are you looking for? Why are you looking for this? And I understand in certain cultures, you don't ask these questions, but it behooves you to allow them to ask you these questions. Who goes to a doctor and the doctor just said, you came in here. Okay, let me give you, and they just start prescribing stuff. They haven't asked you anything about what is wrong.
Red
How
flag.
dangerous is that? Right? That's dangerous. So that real estate agent, again, interchangeably, needs to start by having a discovery call. What are you looking to do? How soon are you looking to do that? Why is that important to you? They're basically trying to take on your burden, understand, and have your eyes. So when they go looking for something, they can. Now, you can see what they're looking for. It's on the internet, unless the thing is not listed, right? And so as they're looking for it, they should start sending you some homes. And so that you can start saying, okay, I like this, I don't like this, and here's why I like this, and here's why. Before they even start traveling, if that real estate agent, if it's not because of time, you saying, well, I'm coming there next week, we already know that's going to be at least 2 days. Okay. If I'm coming here next week, you need to have this. Okay. I can see them going immediately to look for it. But if that real estate agent jumps into immediately going in their car to look for it, and that person's not being wise with their time, so they're not going to be wise with your time, and they're equally not going to be wise with your money. So have the conversation with them, understand, give them what you're looking for, tell them what your parameters are. They should be giving you expected outcomes for whatever your parameters are. And then they're going out and hunting for you and sending you some stuff. They can do virtual tours with you until it's time for you to actually come look
Come
at the
back.
property. Yeah.
Yes.
Or sending someone you trust to look at the property for you. But don't just go straight in. I mean, people are just ruining names for other realtors who are doing things with high regard for the other person's money and time. I mean, that's basically what a real estate agent or realtor should be doing is protecting your time.
Interest. Yes.
Yeah. And that time is an acronym for actual time, your interest, your money, and your emotions. Right?
And I appreciate you coming on. We spoke about a lot of things. We spoke about how real estate agents in the US have a fiduciary duty to you. They
Mm-hmm.
think about you first. It's not about how much they want to make in commission. They have, and that's what we realtors are held. We have to comply with what we are, with our license, that we have to hold you first. It's not about how much we want to make. We have to attend to you.
Mm-hmm.
The theme of this program is to talk about how we made mistakes. We're human,
Mm-hmm.
and how ordinary we are. And so I always enjoy having Verna in my program. And I also appreciate you guys being on this program and listening to this. And I look forward to having you on my next episode. It's going to be as enjoyable as this.